The Bastard Movie Archives, Hangover, with Andy and Max. You never asked for it.
Hi, Joe. Hi. That one was bad. I hadn't seen that one. That one was bad. Because the Swordsman looked great.
Yeah?
The Swordsman was the one that I wanted to do, but I saw Snake Eater was a trilogy, and I needed to replace that anime.
Ah, okay,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so,
You ready?
What's what you do?
Hey, I'm Andy Steinhauer.
And I'm Max Weiland.
And welcome to the Bastard Movie Archives, The Hangover. We just watched Snake Eater, the first of three.
Yeah, with Lorenzo Lamas, which was the first film that we have watched that I had not seen.
And it was not great. It compared to The Empire Strikes Back, it was not as good as that.
Yeah, I tried to talk Lorenzo Lamas up, the amazing Lorenzo Lamas, but I'm
a bad adjective.
Really, really wanting to take that back right now. I had seen some clips from some films like The Swordsman and some of the Snake Eater films because there's three of these. I don't know how there are three of these, but there are three of these.
We are still drinking Kirin Ichiban.
Yeah, you can bet your damn ass we're still drinking.
Your damn hell ass.
Your damn hell ass.
Language. Yeah, we're still drinking after that movie. And Max, you just moved to a new place, right?
I did. Is this the part where we talk about our lives?
This is the part where we talk about our lives a little bit.
You just hijacked this thing last time?
I just hijacked it and I turned it into the Andy and Max talking time.
You just have to say my name like that. God damn it. Yeah, I just moved into a place. It's good. I was ranting to you earlier. I guess the biggest news for me, been working, a lot of doing stuff, which I'm sure you'll all see on this podcast and on this channel.
Yep.
In the future. But yeah, I got my favorite horror film on Blu-ray. Barnes & Noble was doing a 50% off on Criterion sale.
Barnes & Noble, they still have those.
They still sell them. Well, twice a year they do 50% off on Criterion Collection movies.
Right. I know that Barnes & Noble's still around. I'm just being dense.
Right, books.
Right, books. Not Amazon books.
Yeah, so, and it's cheaper to go into the store and get it than shipping, so I went into the store and got it. And so my favorite horror film is Qui-Gon, and they just did a big Blu-ray. It was released in October.
Note, we still have no sponsors.
I'm not sponsoring any of these companies, but just like we did when we ranted about the Alamo Drafthouse.
We like shit.
Yeah, we like shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was kind of bummed out I didn't have more money because I'm broke. But I was kind of bummed out because the new Criterion releases of David Lynch's stuff, Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, are really awesome.
You know what else was really awesome? The turkey I made for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
I know.
I had to work.
I wanted to brag about my turkey abilities. I think we really came into our own this year with brining.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You put your turkey in a bucket with some salt and water and beer, and then you take it out a couple days later, and you stick it in the oven. You forget about it. You take it out. You have a really good turkey.
I remember helping you with the brining a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I had to help you with bird juices.
Well, I made a turkey stock out of it for a soup that I have yet to make, so you might still get to enjoy a little bit of the fruits of your labor.
That's fine. I tried to show up, but by the time I finished work and had texted everybody was like, everyone's drunk and leaving.
Yeah. We are adults. We go to bed.
We're old people.
We get done too early.
Yeah.
So Snake Eater.
Yeah. Enough about us.
Snake Eater has two completely separate plot lines that have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, the one is introducing our character and perpetuating our character's childlike sense of authority. And then there's the actual story, which now can we come to a conclusive, because this is important for the discussion of the plot. Can we come to a conclusion? Was he related to that family?
I think he was related to the family. I'm fairly certain he was related to the family. I think they mention it more than once, but never very plainly.
Well, because I'm still unclear how the bad guys knew that they were related.
Because everybody knows each other, I guess.
I guess.
If you were making a good movie you would have a scene where he interacts with his family or the sister to make it clear that these are people who know each other.
Oh, fuck. I just realized, before we get started, what happened to the girl? The other girl, the old man's daughter.
Oh, she drove the boat away, and that's why the helicopter showed up.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Just double checking.
She summoned a boat because that's her superpower. And
Summoning.
Yeah.
In 80s movies, just like Red Brown was far more efficient in his magical summoning abilities, though. I think we can definitely say in Strike Commando.
Strike Commando, he could just summon. In this one, he had to summon things. He had to cast a spell first. He had to slowly summon things out of the ground.
Yeah, he had to build traps. So that's this guy's. So before we start talking about the plot, this man magically builds traps.
Right. That's his superpower, and we know this because in the first scene there is a nail trap where like hundreds of nails shoot up from the ground when the bad guy has a gun on him, and I'm just in my mind I'm imagining how you would build this thing. And it seems like a multi-day install. I
mean, that took time and effort. Like, they had to have been there at least a day before to install all that stuff. And if it was just him, unless he's just... Because we watched how long it took him to build his other traps, and it took him a little bit of time. So I think nails through the floor would have taken some time.
So his cool thing he has going on is just all bullshit. He takes a lot of time. He probably practices his not being aroused by naked women in the mirror because that makes them want him, apparently, according to the opening scene as well.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so I have a little bit of info here just before we get started. So I actually just found out this is Lamasse's first action film. So this was his first movie.
Okay.
Or at least first action film. What else would he have been in?
First and best.
We haven't seen any of that. So we haven't seen any of the other ones. So was it? I want to know. First action film, could it have been drama? Do you think he would have fit in drama?
I think he's very dramatic.
He liked monologuing at the beginning and the end. Okay, so all right, no, yeah, fuck down. You're Jesus. You're right. It was his parents and his kidnapped sister.
Yeah.
So
that would have added a lot of stakes to the movie.
Lamasse
might have helped.
Yes, Lamasse plays Soldier. Jack Kelly. I'm glad we got a name. I guess that name probably comes from the later movies because he was just credited as Soldier.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
A police officer who served in the Marine Special Forces Snake Eater team. Soldier uses the talents that he learned in the Snake Eaters to hunt down the criminals who killed his parents and kidnapped his sister. Okay. So the criminals covered their crime by the bear costume. So in order for them to kill people and get the cops off their back, that was the bear.
They have
thing.
A bear costume,
but it wasn't a bear costume. It was just a bear glove,
I guess,
and them growling like a bear.
The growling like a bear is what sells it.
Yeah. I guess. But the cops can hear that.
Back to the first scene because this is the unconnected plot. He's sitting. Yeah. We hear like there's a bug in the room that we later find out is in his massive hair, and he's sitting in a chair raving like a lunatic. And
throwing the cards, like he wasn't throwing them at anything either. It was just
throwing them.
He just every which way, like if Gambit had like just been on a like all night binger, you know.
Maybe he thought he was Gambit.
He had read an X because he kind of like during that part he kind of looked like X-Men or Wolverine.
Yeah.
So maybe he did. Maybe he was trying to be Wolverine, but also thought he might be Gambit.
Right.
At the end of his like
he did have the correct amount of chest hair to be Wolverine.
I think he's pretty sure he would have beat out Hugh Jackman if it hadn't been for Hollywood's corrupt system.
Yeah, and if Hugh Jackman wasn't a tremendous actor.
Yeah. You know. But we all know Lamasse thinks he's better.
He's sitting there ranting and raving to these two cops that are like the comedic morons, I guess. They're supposed to be these tropes of two lazy cops just making jokes, and they kind of sound like this too.
Yeah, you've seen them lampoon this in like Sin City with the two cops who are talking philosophy, which is always it's always the two cops that are funny. Or the two people that you unexpectedly are being humorous in a scene. They're the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. That's what they are.
And then, so that is all happening. And then this lady walks in, who I guess is his drug dealing contact because they're on they're on some sort of drug bust. And then she wants to know that he doesn't have a bug, so she tells him to strip, and then he's like, "Nuh-uh, you strip," and so they both strip.
You show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Right. That's not. It was probably even cliche when this movie came out. Dear God. And so they both start stripping, and our friend Soldier starts oiling up. He looks very oily.
Well, remember, we learned this in the Red Brown movies, that when these guys start getting excited, they don't sweat, they just excrete oil.
They seep oil.
Yeah, so they get oily.
You know, if the 80s was a little more green, they would have run their cars on this man oil.
Exactly.
So yeah, they both get naked, and you're sitting here watching like, are we really gonna have like a naked lady in a sex scene just bam right off the bat?
And you guessed it, we do. Yeah. She takes everything off, everything. Yeah, and she's literally just here for this part. It's not even like a recurring thing. Like, she's just here. So imagine if your film involved the first and third act of the film having nothing to do with the second act, and that's this movie.
Yep. Yeah, because all of this comes back except for the lady. They just could get her for that one thing.
Yeah, it was just the two cops. But that's the thing, is like they just use this whole elaborate setup to show that as he's slowly taking his clothes off, it's like a Lovecraftian. You even talked about it. It's like Lovecraftian horror, but instead of horror, it's just how awesomely sexy this man is. But because he's not that awesomely sexy, we can't show it as much.
Oh yeah, we had to see it on the lady's face.
It was like some guy had read Spielberg and tried to apply it to sex. So if you want to show awe, you show the reaction before you show what you're showing. So like Jurassic Park does this, or
sure.
You see Spielberg do this very effectively. But this is like a guy who was just like, oh, let's just do it with sexiness. So, like, we're just going to use her face to show how sexy he is.
So our hero Soldier just looks like he's at the grocery store like, yeah, peas. And then this lady looks like she's having multiple orgasms while he takes his shirt off.
Yeah. Like, because of course, it's the 80s. So he's got a ripped
shirtless
denim, like, shirt. Sleeveless denim shirt, and when he tears open his thing, you can literally hear her go.
It gets moist in there.
Yeah, it gets. You can hear her say that. It's like even in the sound design, they're trying to sell this.
So anyway, that's pretty much the bullet points of the first act. You know, some bad guys show up. There's a couple traps. His cop buddies come in. He springs a shotgun trap on his cop buddies.
Yep,
just to prove a point.
Yeah, he almost shoots him in the fucking face.
Yeah,
like he drops the shotgun thing out of the ceiling, and it starts shooting at them.
He's got that attitude where he's like, oh yeah, you guys want me to play by the book? I'll show you how to play by the book, kind of thing.
And the best part about this is it's like we've seen this a lot in cop films like Death Wish and stuff. You know, we see this all the time where it's just like, no, you're out of goddamn line, but like our hero is literally a cop who doesn't follow the rules, and I guess that's not in vogue today. It's like making a movie about like our hero being a cop who doesn't follow the rules. Yeah,
nowadays we're like, oh, we would love a cop that doesn't beat the shit out of
people that don't fucking deserve it. So like, it's funny watching these movies because it's totally not okay. Like, totally, it's just not acceptable what they're doing. And, like, you're actually on side with the people you're supposed to be like, those goons. Those stupid goons.
Those guys, but they get the job done.
Yeah. And you're like, no. But even those guys piss in that homeless guy's coffee.
Oh, God, yeah. They're sitting in their cop car, and a homeless guy is like, do you have any money for coffee? And he just pissed in his coffee cup because they've been on a stakeout for a while or something. And hands it to the homeless guy.
Shit on a homeless guy, I guess, you know?
So, really comedic stuff. Really just hilarious. I mean, homeless people drinking my piss makes me feel good about myself, if anything ever did.
Yeah, why don't you get a job?
God. So the times have shifted from thinking that cops who don't play by the book but get the job done by beating the shit out of innocent people is just fine.
Yeah, because he totally like fucks those. Like he probably gave those criminals tetanus because those nails were not clean that went to their feet.
He probably pissed on the nails. I don't know, or like caked the nails.
That's how he sanitized them. He was like, "I'll just fucking pee on these."
Anyway, on to the main plot line.
So without really any At least I wasn't clear on this.
Oh yeah, they take his gun and badge right then and there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. They take his. He's like, I don't get to sit in the car with the flashy lights, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're a petulant child.
So they didn't have to build a precinct set.
Yeah. That's the main reason why. So they could all shoot this somewhere in Cleveland.
So then we smash cut to a houseboat on a river.
And they're never clear that there's a relation between these two?
No.
I don't recall that. Because the dad and mom are talking about the sister, the daughter.
Yeah, I was never clear. There's just a sister character who's in a bathing suit at night, sun tanning or moon tanning, I guess, on this houseboat. And her parents are like, she's slutty, come in and take that swimsuit off. And she doesn't hear them because she's got a Walkman on, but she comes in and takes that swimsuit off, I guess.
She's listening to some radical tunes.
Very generic radical tunes. and then all of a sudden, some bayou guys jump on the boat and start being real creepy. They're creepy and on the boat, and this guy who there's a guy who talks. His speaking voice is probably about up here, but he Batmans it pretty hard.
Yeah,
and it does not sound good.
Yeah, but he's trying to do it with that sort of like southern sort of like.
You got a pretty mouth.
Yeah. He's trying to do Deliverance. I mean, it seemed like this whole thing was trying to do Deliverance, just
poorly,
or just my name's Buck and I like to fuck, that kind of thing, So it just doesn't. It doesn't work.
It really paints people from the South in a good light. Just any trope. They're always
our Bayou boys.
Our
but
Bayou
that's not
boys.
okay to call them. So Bayou guys or Bayou men.
Yeah. It's racist to call them Bayou boys. They're Bayou men or Bayou guys.
It's not racist. It's ageist.
Ageist. Sorry. But they every trope you can think of, like they talk funny, they're ugly, they're kind of inbred. One of them is definitely having sex with his sister, trying to get her pregnant. Like that's what this is about. So they're on the houseboat and they kill the parents. They kill the mom in a really gruesome way.
Yeah, it seems like they. Well, it's gruesome in concept, but not quite so much in execution.
No.
Because you never see her head leave frame, so you know that she's
there's a boiling vat of maybe grease or
he said it needs to be spicier,
right?
That sort of thing. And he's like, no, like here was the fucked up thing about it. So it's where it's like he's putting the hand into the pot and then stops and says, but maybe it just needs some salt. And then put salt in, you're like, okay, where's this? And this is the story of the whole movie. So instead of just when you're watching an exploitation film, you're ready to be disturbed by something that's probably going to not be okay. So be it a gruesome murder, violence against people, children, women, so you're just like, okay, it's gonna happen, we'll move on from it. This movie never goes there, but keeps taunting you to the point where it's just almost unbearable. So what it does is like the whole like arm in the hand thing, like, oh no, never mind, I won't do that to you, I'll just put salt in it. But then puts her face into it, because the whole thing is he's like gonna put her face into it, and then we cut away and the whole thing's on fire, right?
You cut away and the whole thing's on fire, and the daughter is abducted.
And then but you're gonna see this sort of like philosophy of going there without going there repeat with the fucking sister in the shack.
Mm-hmm.
You see that whole thing repeat because it never goes there, so you're never like over it in terms of the narrative. It just keeps being uncomfortable and fucked up.
So they abduct the sister and take her to their shack, and there's a shot where it looks like there's a normal house behind the shack that you're just kind of not supposed to see. But
they shot it outside of their uncle's house.
Yeah.
And like we're gonna build a shack, and the uncle's like, you kids do whatever. It's kind of what it felt like.
But they abduct her to the shack, and every scene with this poor sister character, she probably has like 5 or 10 lines in the entire movie, but she was on the call sheet for like 20 days.
She didn't have a lot to work with, and I felt very bad for her because she was there all the time, and all she did was just look scared, look dirty, scared, afraid. It was your characters literally look sexy, look like spoiled white sexy, then angry, sad, scared, disturbed, and the rest of terrible things.
Oh, and by the way, the lead bad guy is going to fondle your breasts through your shirt like kind of a lot.
Yeah, we hope that was in the script and not something agreed upon on set.
Yeah.
And by agreed upon on set, I mean between the lead actor and the director, the girl had no say.
But every scene, to go with your point, like every scene with this poor lady character was
It's uncomfortable.
so rapey.
Yeah,
it's uncomfortable.
Like, it wasn't in exploitation films like you watch movies like Hills Have Eyes goes there immediately within the first 30 minutes. Like rape happens, it's done, it's over.
But
and they're usually murdered.
The other thing that didn't quite fit is that they kind of have all the time in the world to do whatever they want with this impotent female character.
Yeah.
But then at the last second, the main bad guy is always interrupted by something.
Well, and that's where it gets really disturbing because it becomes the only way that they could delay it was by making it comedic. So it makes it like they're trying to do, which makes it even worse. It makes it super disturbing.
But why didn't he? I mean, he had so much time to do whatever he wanted with this person. Like, this film takes place over the main plot of the film takes place over at least 3 days, right? At least 3.
Yeah, it's got to be 3.
And he's back home just hanging out. And then he's like, now that we're about out of time, I'm gonna do my rapey stuff with this character. And he goes out there, and then it's like, buddy, there's the bad guy, the other guy's here, and then it's just always interrupted.
I attribute it to all Hicks need 12 hours of sleep.
Oh, he was sleepy?
Well, I mean, let me specify: inbred Hicks need 12 hours of sleep.
So the bad guy lost because he's sleepy.
Because he's inbred, and that makes him sleepy.
Inbred is in the slur, not just literally in a piece of bread.
Yeah. I mean, like, not even in a slur. Just inbred as in your parental lines have crossed multiple times to the point where it's having derogatory effects on your brain.
Yeah, I don't see what's weird about that, Max.
I think it's a biological fact that makes them sleep more.
That's a lot of science talk. I don't think.
According to Lorenzo Lamas, it makes them sleep more.
But yeah, they it's all very
so
rapey.
I guess the biggest thing is like, yes, the rapey scenes are really uncomfortable and strange and like not like standard exploitation fare. The reason why it disturbed me so much is because it wasn't like standard exploitation fare, which is any sort of horror film or any of these things that move beyond. Usually anybody that's raped is killed, and if they're not, they're usually the ones doing the killing. So like Last House on the Left or these things. The things where people are abused, they usually are the ones revenging themselves against whatever family caused them this problem. So you get through these very quickly. And this one, it like drug it on and was trying to make light of it. And it was almost like they were like, okay, we can't be too dark, guys. And I was like, but the fact that you've made us sit through this for like an hour long, and we're still having to deal with like every single scene with these guys is literally about rape. There's nothing else they're thinking about. Remember, because even later on when they capture the guy and the other girl, the first thing they think about is raping her. It's like not even like to the point where he literally sacrifices the plan that his brothers had put in to rape this girl. So it's just sort of one of those like awesome, great, okay, yes, here we go again. In which he turned himself into a trap because that's his magic power to
traps
to swing himself and knock the guy out.
I do have if we could back up a second, how did a soldier know to go into the woods to do anything?
I don't know. It seemed like, well, I was on board with the whole Hearts of Darkness thing, that this was just another adaptation of Joseph Conrad, that he just had to go find himself
honestly,
in the darkness of the forest.
In my mind, he was just on a jaunty vacation.
Because I didn't know what happened. He was like, he goes to the marina. We have to go back to like him going to the marina, meeting up with the old guy.
Well, he goes to the marina, meets up with the old guy, and
then
he gets waylaid by the main bad guys. They're just there.
But before that, remember when he goes to the bar, the cage, which looks like a gay bar?
Yeah.
And like totally fucking doesn't know how to drive a motorcycle and just flies into the bar.
Oh, right.
Because he crashes his own motorcycle.
We go through to a third plot line. I forgot about that. Yeah, this is before the marina. He's driving his motorcycle not very fast, and then a kid is playing with a ball, and he has to avoid the kid as the kid goes into the road. And then he totally just hits the rear brakes on his motorcycle, skids out, and hits like a patch of dirt, and then flies into a bar where he's a regular and knocks over the beer, of basically Mungo.
And she even like sits down. She's like, "Can I get you anything, honey? Like this is normal fare. Like there's always that kid is always out there, always playing with that ball, and he never learns.
And he never learns how to ride his motorcycle, so he doesn't flip over a piece of dirt when he needs to stop from a slow speed.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
But then there's a massive bar fight, and he beats the shit out
with the guy who steals people's teeth.
With a guy who, like, in a tribal, in a tribal
he has
fashion,
a tribal
steals
necklace of people's teeth. And there's the guy you can't understand who's like, "Oh, you don't fight him. He's bad. He beats her. He takes a trophy."
Anyway, so that happens. Has nothing to do with the plot, and then he goes to the marina.
Right, where he meets the old man who then eventually bastardizes his motorcycle into a boat.
He goes to this marina, and then he gets in a fight with the main bad guys, not knowing they're the main bad guys, gets knocked out.
Yeah, when does he ever find out that they killed his family and kidnapped his sister?
Dude, I don't know.
Like, when does that ever become a standard knowledge to anybody?
I think that becomes standard knowledge when the Hicks...
Now, it wasn't when he found the hat.
The audience knows that, but he doesn't...
No, but the audience doesn't know that. I didn't know that. I did not know that was his family. I had no idea.
I didn't know it was his family. Oh. I just knew that it was like, oh, the bad guys are meeting the good guy. What's going to happen?
Yeah. So I thought it was just him being like, oh, well, I got to go save these people. But
that's what I thought too. Yeah. But they beat him unconscious, and then he wakes up, and then there's like naked lady, who's now, if you are a woman and you take a man who's been knocked out instead of calling 911 into your bedroom, do you just walk around naked a bunch until he wakes up?
You know, common sense would say no.
Is Max lonely?
But Max is lonely. I just walk around naked all the time. No, no.
That happens because more nudity.
And it's literally for more nudity. And then when he like moves and she goes, oh, "You're awake?" It's like, why were you walking around naked in the room you put this stranger in the first place?
Right. They own a marina. I'm sure there's a couch, or maybe just you could have closed your bathroom door.
Now, if she had been an exhibitionist and that had become a part of maybe like the plot turns into their love affair and them getting in trouble for being like, I would have accepted that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that makes sense. That has a bearing on the plot.
Makes some sort of sense.
Right? But no, this was just the excuse to have her walking around without any clothes on. So, yeah. So we haven't even gotten to the actual plot of him going after these guys yet.
Right. So, The old guy, when he's in a fight with the main bad guys at the marina, the
old guy on the bike
for some reason is ramps Soldier's Harley into the water.
It
does nothing.
He was adamant. I think he found a man who was much younger than him, who had a much better bike, and realized that the only way out was killing himself. And so he tried to kill himself in just a totally insane fashion.
Didn't work.
It didn't work because clearly he lived.
He rides the Harley into the water, and then there's a clip of him like swimming and going like and then
see, I had actually thought he had killed himself.
In the next and then we have the stupid nudity scene. And then we discover that the old man has fished the Harley out of the water and somehow turned it into a boat.
But left the wheels by the boat. Like he had taken it to a shop to disassemble the bike to only use the bike parts for the boat. Like that he just did it on the dock that night. So there's so many parts of where he's got obviously the brown paper bag with liquor in it. So it just seems like he swam his suicide attempt didn't work. He just got hammered on the beach, found the bike, pulled it out of the ocean, built this thing drunk by the boat on a dock, and then woke up the next morning being like, "Oh, I guess I did this last night."
You know you have a problem if you turn bikes into boats at night and don't remember it.
Yeah,
it does happen in less than 24 hours, and it pissed me off because I am a big fan of two-wheeled vehicles, And this thing is basically a shitty little boat with an entire motorcycle just glued to the inside, yet it still uses the outboard motor for locomotion, yet it has, or the outboard engine, and then the motorcycle engine is just there weighing 400 pounds for no reason.
So,
like, it's not a practical vehicle.
Yeah, so anyone who has been on a boat or knows how boats work, so particularly on small boats like this, like dinghies and things like that, like smaller boats, the engine in the back it like literally tips back up, and you can pull it up out of the water. It like is on a lever.
Yeah, it's called a trim, right?
Yeah, it's a trim. So what happens is like there's a fucking fan at the bottom. That's how boats move. So like it's on the rear of the boat. So it doesn't make any sense on this boat that he's got these like motorcycle like chops like up at the top, and he's controlling it. I'm like, is there like a rod that goes and is like a fucking thing that's controlling the back engine?
Nobody knows.
And this comes into major question when he gets trapped himself. And literally crashes his speedboat motorcycle like a motorcycle would crash on the street, which is not how boats work.
There was a line in there about how the Hicks, the Bayou guys, set up some sort of a, quote, log trap, and that's apparently what stopped the parents' boat in the beginning scene.
Yeah, to give you an idea of what the boat does, the boat goes forward, and then as if he's turning, it spins to the left.
It looks like he high-sided his boat.
High-sided, but you'd see that, like, that's what would happen on a motorcycle.
Right, but since it's a motorcycle boat, I guess that makes sense in the logic of the film.
Remember where the engine is on a boat. It's in the rear, and nothing is going to cause it to spin that way except for if you steer it to spin that way. So, really, all that happened was he suddenly spun it and then threw himself off of it.
So what you're saying, Max, is the producers of this film did not have 3D Studio Max to approximate the physics of this accident.
No, it's not that they didn't have 3D. They just didn't use their brains to understand how physics works.
Fair enough. I don't know what's next. He's like camping, and then
he's just off in the woods by himself, but so is the old man and the daughter for some reason.
And they murder the old man,
pretending to be a bear, where it's like, roar, 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 and then you see him get slashed. He's like, oh god, what's happening? Oh, there's a bear. What? I don't know. And then the camera pans up, and it's just a guy with like little bear gloves.
And I wondered, like, is this an attempt to explain how they've been getting away with murder for a while, or
Well, according to the premise, it was they blame it on a bear, so that's why they only scratch the guy with bear claws.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, no, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
So they murder the old man, and for some reason his daughter is out there. The lady who likes to be naked, she's just out there for some reason.
And then they meet up, and then they go.
Yep.
I think I was zoning out for a while during that, but they were like going.
They meet up. Yeah, they meet up, and she becomes like a liability, and he I think he literally says like, "I work alone."
Yeah, and almost chokes her. Remember, he like puts his hand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he puts his hand on her throat and says, "I almost always work alone." Like they're totally cordial. Like they helped each other.
But you know, she was hysterical, so he had to put his hand on her throat.
Which is funny because she wasn't even hysterical.
No,
like,
she was pretty level-headed.
Yeah.
But she goes away. He's like, here's a boat, and she's like, of course there's a boat, and then she goes away, and then so she apparently summons the helicopter at the very end, I guess.
Yeah, I was wondering where that thing came from.
Yeah. So then after that he goes to their cabin to find his sister, I guess.
Yes. Are we just skipping all the scenes that take place in the cabin?
Oh, well, we kind of covered that. It was just really rapey.
Yeah. Like, I mean, with the snake scene, where the snake wasn't even okay with this idea and was trying to get away. Anytime
there is a break in the action.
Oh, yeah, they cut to the cabin and it got real rapey.
Yeah, and like Max says, I forgot about that. The main bad guy walks in with a snake and strongly hints that he's going to put that snake in bad places, and it's just...
And, like, even the snake is, like, it's not even, like, a thing where it's, like, I'm being real, like, being real fetishy and weird about this, like you would expect. It's like even the snake is clearly not okay with this idea.
Snake is like, please no.
Yeah, the snake is like, can I just leave? So
there's that. But let's fast forward to where he finally gets to the cabin.
Do we want to go to that? Okay, so when he gets to the cabin, isn't that when it becomes the shootout? Isn't that when the crazy ass shootout happens?
Yeah, there's the like sister wife. She
I forgot about her.
She decides she's gonna murder Soldier's little sister
because her cousin's in love with her, or in love with the girl, but she wants to give her cousin boys.
Love is a strong word.
Like, remember, because there's like the campfire conversation with who could give who children.
Yeah, it's about passing on that awful seed.
Yeah,
but she's like jelly, so she goes in there with a double barrel shotgun, and at the very end, of course, because every scene with this poor sister is like saved at the very end by something, she turns around and goes to shoot Snake Eater, who's fallen victim to a bear trap. And then the sister...
Right, which is weird, because it like looks like... Because they do a montage before that where he's like getting all fucking prepped up. He's got his like fucking... I guess it's an M1 carbine. It could be. I think it is, actually.
Yeah, I think it is.
And so he's like...
in a bear trap.
And like, he's like getting all prepped up, and like literally while watching it, I was getting ready to... I'm like, oh... This is G.I. Joe time. This is the time to start rolling like G.I. Joe as he's like getting ready and going. And then he literally, the man who wills traps, steps into a trap. And literally just does nothing. He just falls over and goes, ah!
And then, but when sister person turns around to shoot him with the double barrel shotgun, his little sister stabs her in the back
with the horn off of
something,
of some bone,
like a dead animal
skull.
Yeah. And then she shoots him anyways, but he's okay because getting shot isn't that serious for
No,
guys.
she doesn't shoot him. She shoots towards the gun because he's still crawling for the gun. She shoots and he backs up and then she dies. And then he gets the gun and pulls his leg off, or pulls. It'd be funny if he pulls his leg off. Pulls the trap off his leg and then crawls into the
They crawl into the little cabin, and then there's like everybody shows up and shoots the shit out of the cabin.
There wasn't very much like brother sister moments. There wasn't like, oh, we're related. I'm glad you're okay.
I think that was the first day on set where they actually met. So there just wasn't a lot of chemistry.
Right. So yeah, that happened, and then
and then they're in the shed. Everybody shoots the shed, and then he shoots at nothing, but some of the bad guys die.
Yeah, there's the big OK Corral shootout. Except for he hides behind a fucking wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Like a old like steel or like cement like kind of wheelbarrow.
Everybody knows wheelbarrows are perfectly bulletproof.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
And then he's got like, and he keeps reusing his he tapes.
He's shirtless.
Yeah, so like when you have like magazines, like sometimes they'll duct tape another one so you can swap it quickly. It's like a little war trick. So he does that multiple times with the same magazine. He doesn't like have a helmet with another magazine on it.
No, a helmet with a magazine? He doesn't have anything with another magazine.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything. He's just reusing the same magazine.
So yeah, they literally show close-ups of him fiddling with this magazine at least 3 times. So
that's clearly a point where you have to pay attention to just pay attention to what the result is. Don't pay attention to the method and the madness.
But yeah, eventually he wins the day, and some fighting happens, and at the very last, there's a character starts to drive a slow, small tractor at them.
Oh, the tractor, yes, and it literally is like if you've seen
scene,
Austin Powers,
exactly.
or it was either one of the first two. I can't remember which one.
It's the first one.
Is it the first one?
Yeah, it's the first
Where
one.
it's like super far away, and he's like, "No, stop!" and it keeps driving, and it takes forever to kill the guy. It's literally that scene, but for serious.
It's the slowest, and then it eventually demolishes the thing, which was their big budget shot, I guess.
Yeah, it demolished their cabin, which demolished everything they stood for in life, which was decrepit shit.
After they're all dead.
Yeah, after they're
And then at that
he kills all of them.
At that very second, when the tractor starts starts slowly moving into the shed, a helicopter pops over the horizon.
And see, we haven't even gotten to the third act yet because we have to go back to the thing that has no bearing on the plot.
And then
which is with our 2 cop friends, a condom, a pyromaniac, and some bug spray.
Cut, cut, cut to our two cop friends who hear Snake Eater over the radio being a raving lunatic, just like the opening of the movie.
Doesn't make any sense.
And then we go to him, and rather than a bug, he just has a radio, like a giant 80s two-way radio, and he's hiding behind some boxes for somebody to come in, and then somebody comes in, and he's like, he loudly avoids them seeing him. Like he's not sneaky at all. They, like, even the sound designer made the scuffles way too loud, and like the radio makes radio noises, but they don't see him. And then he, I guess, captures this guy spraying bug spray on boxes. I guess he's an arsonist.
Yeah, I think he's a pyromaniac, kind of arsonist character. Yeah.
That's never really established.
No, you just assume, well, because he's like getting ready to light what he just sprayed.
Really, we're taking Snake Eater's word for it, though, and I wouldn't take his word for anything.
And there's a big, like, I'm going to follow things by the books. Oh, and then there's the whole thing with the cops again, with a homeless guy who they peed in his coffee.
Oh, they pee in his coffee
again. He's
again.
like, I know not to trick you guys. I brought my own sugar. And I'm
right.
That made me just think, I'm like, is that cop a diabetic?
Well, I think in the script it was a misdirect, like a humorous misdirect.
Yeah.
And then the actor just didn't know how a misdirect is supposed to work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was supposed to be like, you can't trick me again.
I just like thinking the cops.
I brought my own sugar, and he just totally gave it away, so it wasn't funny at all.
I thought his pee was like super, super duper sour, implying that he was a diabetic or something.
Oh man, he's like, hey, you should really see a doctor. Thanks for the coffee.
This guy is like, he's like, I mean, you really need to go to the doctor.
But yeah,
no. So that's, I mean, you're probably gonna listen to this and you're gonna say, guys, this is incomprehensible. What is this story? And I'd be like, no. Watch the movie with us, with our commentary, or without us, because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
No. Because the quote-unquote arsonist, he ties him to a hand truck.
With the condom and fills the condom with the poison, or the gas, I guess.
Fills the condom with the possibly flammable material.
And we thought he was going to rape him.
He finds... Yeah, I kind of thought he was going to rape him, because this movie is very rapey. The only thing this last scene didn't have was a naked lady. But, he ties a full condom full of... possibly flammable material to a string on a broomstick, and then has it pendulum back and forth over a candle that he got somewhere. So we assume that the candle is going to melt the condom and make the flammable material go up and kill the guy tied to the hand.
Yeah, I think
truck.
It was like supposed to be like an explosive gas bomb, so it pops the condom and then blows up in his face.
So apparently he's making him confess. This is all admissible in court. And
but if you watch the way he did it actually wouldn't have worked.
What?
The way the condom was flying over the flame.
It wasn't getting... I mean...
It was way off target. It was moving way too fast. It would never have worked.
Maybe it was like popping it while they were trying to film or something.
Probably.
But I bet it would have popped if it was just hovering over...
If it just sat there.
Yeah, just sitting there,
But
right?
he kept swinging it the whole time. It didn't make any sense.
So if they would have showed it like melting the condom and the guy like sweating or something, you know, like with
See,
it
that's
not
when you...
penduluming
Yeah, that's
or
when
something.
you cut into some tight coverage. Yeah.
But I don't know. It was just stupid. Had nothing to do with the plot. We're just establishing like Snake Eater, even though his parents died and his little sister almost got raped, is still a male fantasy.
But
Fuck
he was
everyone.
still part of like a Marine special unit called the Snake Eaters, which we're not clear what they did.
Well, he had a T-shirt.
He did have a T-shirt. He
had
did
a
pull out the
t-shirt.
Snake Eater T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like they gave him a weird retro '80s T-shirt. One he worked. Yeah. So yeah, that works.
So I mean that's the end of that fucking movie. It had 3 separate plots.
Yeah.
It had the crime fighter plot, and then it had the Roadhouse plot, and then it had the Deliverance plot.
Yep.
And then we got back to standard 80s urban crime fighter to tie a bow on it.
Yeah.
Solid stuff. Overall, I would say I enjoyed Strike Commando more as a bad good movie.
I mean, I do. I'm a Red Brown guy, so I mean, I've obviously pitched and talked about Red Brown. So and this was the first one I hadn't seen, so
This one wasn't as quotable.
No, it wasn't. There was a few weird, awkward one-liners, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next two, and there's a bunch of other. This was his first film, so keep that in mind.
If I were to pitch this film, I would be like, "Did you see Deliverance? Would you like to see a little bit more of Deliverance?" And don't have high standards.
I would pitch this film as Wolverine does Deliverance.
Oh, that's way better than mine. Good job.
That's what I would do.
His chest hair is just so
It's
exactly
so much like
Wolverine's.
Wolverine,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Greasier, but yeah.
And then the producers would be confused at the beginning with the cards because they'd be like, "Wait, is this Wolverine or Gambit? What's happening?"
Wolverine does Deliverance.
Yep.
All
That's
right.
my pitch. That's how I'm going to sign off this.
Yeah, you win. You win
All
that
right,
one.
Fair enough. All right.
All right. Well, I'm Andy Steinhauer,
And I'm Max Weiland.
and this has been the Bastard Movie Archives Hangover.
Yep. And stay tuned next week when we watch a great anime from Japan, modified by the West in the worst way possible, called The Lensman.
If you say so. If you say so.
I say so.
Bye.
Bye. Well, oh, you got a pizza.